We've got a long-awaited Hasbro Pulse clearance item. We've got Dungeons and Dragons, Drizzt, and Guenwyvar on where I got it figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Where I got it figured back with a Dungeons and Dragons review. We've got Drizzt and Guenwyvar, Hasbro Pulse exclusive that I've wanted for years. It went down to 1941, like about a month ago. So I went ahead and finally grabbed one. Couldn't resist it at that price. You know, from all indications, this is like a great figure set. Dan Larson even had Guenwyvar in his top 20 figures of the year for 2021. You know, he goes through through the year and like quarterly updates his list and everything like that. And he just had the Panther in there. And, you know, I guess he just didn't want to figure out how to pronounce his name. And so he ultimately ended up, like, I don't even care what his name is. I just think it's a cool Panther, but I don't know. The Panther has a name. Dan Larson. Learned a name. But we know his name. We know where he comes from. And we're going to go through it. And his drow partner, Drizzt, in this review. So looking at the packaging, of course, is very nice packaging. Pretty premium stuff here. We got your Dungeons and Dragons on the top. They did, of course, not forget to acknowledge that he comes from Forgotten Realms, which isn't the exact same thing as like regular Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of its own world. And, you know, being an exclusive item that was never in the store, there's no story matter or anything like that on there. You know, but the basics on Drizzt is he's a dark elf that turned good, that decided to be good. And he's got a panther that's, you know, kind of a badass panther as a pet. And the dark elves worship the Spider Queen. You know, they're all good with swords and, you know, bows and all that kind of stuff, like you would think an elf would be. But Drizzt is, you know, super good at all of that. And he does come off as kind of a Mary Sue-ish type character. But, you know, sometimes you like Mary Sue type characters. And, you know, in this case, I do. Haven't played the Dungeons and Dragons game and, you know, read here and there a few pages of a few novels. I never really got through all of them, but I do know, you know, who Drizzt is. Drizzt is a character from novels written by R.A. Salvatore. The Legends of Drizzt is one of them. You can check them out. Those books are still available. And yeah, you know, so he's a cool character. But I figured, you know, I always like to get things here and there that are, you know, off the beaten path. Not just the usual G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars. So that was sort of an attractive thing for this set. But at that time, you know, when he came out, I mean, I had the money. I just never got around to it. It was more of a not getting around to it thing. Then he would go out of stock, come back sometimes. But now they're clearancing them. And I believe even after I got him, he went out of stock on clearance and came back on clearance. So you might be able to pick one of these up. I haven't checked. I do think that my buddy Phil from Crossfire Collectibles did eventually get one in the manner I just described. So check him out too. I'm sure he'll have a review up shortly. So there's the spiel about Drizzt. we're going to get him and Guenwyvar out by opening the package. Be right back. All right, so phase 1 of package opening. We've got the, window box for Drizzt and Guenwyvar and all their accessories. You get quite a few things, and in keeping with Dungeons and Dragons, you get a 20-sided die. With the figure, that's pretty cool. It was definitely difficult to get the slip case off. I definitely damaged it a little bit. Reason being, and of course there's some artwork here where he's fighting some kind of fiend. Yeah, it looks like a fiend. It looks like a dragon. The reason for that, though, was because the tape, clearly this item was sitting in a warehouse somewhere for a long time. Like, the tape is, like, super tight on there, as if it had been on there for a long time. So, it's almost impossible to get it off 100% cleanly, but I didn't do too bad. So there you go. On the back, I don't know, it's a white dragon. Okay, yeah. So on the back of the box, there's a sort of it's sort of etched in there, the drawing. It's the same drawing there. Fighting a white dragon that shoots blasts of ice out of its mouth, and of course it's doing a tail attack, and of course they're not getting hit by it. They're not going to get hit by it. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. So we're going to get them out and see what we got. All right, so we've got Drizzt and Guenwyvar out of the package and all their accessories. They also came with this piece of paper, sort of a booklet. We're gonna see what that's about here too. But taking them out of the package, I can see a lot going on here, right? So, Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, which owns Dungeons and Dragons. Basically, they own Dungeons and Dragons. And this figure has all the articulation you expect out of like a deluxe figure. And by that I mean he has a butterfly joints. He has waist crunch, ab crunch. He has removable hands, removable head. He's like a G.I. Joe classified figure before, in a sense. And speaking of G.I. Joe classified, of course, Guenwyvar here is sort of like the daddy of Timber and Fiona, and was actually a large part of the appeal of getting this set, because seeing how they started out with the animals, you can definitely see where the animals are coming out great, even from the beginning. And it does make me wonder who worked on this and everything like that. So this set, it's impressive in the sense that, he kind of gets all of the bells and whistles of your average Hasbro release. He doesn't get part of them, he gets all of them. So it's kind of good. It's kind of really, really good. We'll see what the scale is here in a bit. He might be sort of in his own scale, but we'll see. So, looking at his accessories, of course, he's got his swords, and the swords have names, but I don't remember what they are. So you've got the swords, and they, of course, have these ice effects that you can put on them. So, and he also has sheaths for both of them. So for storage there, so you can store all of his stuff on his body. Once again, it's kind of a G.I. Joe classified thing. And then he's got this necklace, which has some significance that I don't remember what the significance is. And because his head is removable, and the cape is therefore removable, and you see he's got the 2-stage neck. And you can see his, even though he's got this armor on there, he does have a butterfly joint. And of course, he's got removable hands. I mean, this guy's great. You know, he doesn't have a boot cut, but that's, you know, that's because the cut is in the ankle. So, you know, he's wearing armor. So that's the only thing he doesn't really have is a boot cut. But you don't really need a boot cut. So, you know, you can go ahead and put his necklace on like that. Put the cape back on. Oh, yes, and then there's the head thing here. So when I was taking him out of the package, I noticed, so this head and this hair, the second head and the second hair, they're two separate pieces, right? So you can just, I guess you gotta get his ears back to this big part here, like that. And then you just sort of push it onto the hair. But it makes me wonder, and yes, we can confirm. So not only does he have two heads, he also has two sets of hair. So if you want to have them, you know, swapped out, you can sort of do the angry face on the straight hair. Like that. His ear bent a little bit coming out of the thing, but yeah. You can just sort of, you know, swap them out like that. So, now that we've done that, there you go. Works well enough. And like I said, he does have ab crunch. So yeah, so that's cool. You know, not only do you get the two heads, you also get the hair that separates from the body, I mean from the head, to give them alternate face and hairstyles. I like that. I like that a lot. And then of course you get alternate hands. So you get a fist and kind of a gesturing hand. And then you get this totem. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he can summon Guenwyvar from this. Like, Guenwyvar doesn't run around all the time. He calls them when he needs them from this totem. So before we do anything with anything else, we gotta put the swords in his hands. So here we go. Drizzt looking like an absolute badass with his super drow ice power swords. Very cool. We can do like that. Ooh. And we can do like this. So funny enough, the ice effects were giving him balance so that he could stand with them. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Like the moody, wind-swept, broody face. Then we will swap out his hands. It came off. Quickly. You can see him with his fist and his gesturing hand here. There you go there. So you got some posing options for Drizzt. And then looking at Guenwyvar, he's got this purplish sheen on him that makes it look like he's like a false animal in some sense. He's got mouth articulation. Mouth opens and closes. Head poses, neck poses. So here you go, Drizzt and Guenwyvar. Posing options shown. So you got your 20-sided dice, decahedron, and the 20 is a Dungeons and Dragons symbol. Oh, the cards. Okay, so then you got your... So these are Forgotten Realms cards. So your white dragon, and it's written in Forgotten Realms language, which can most likely be translated. Got a frost giant. Got whatever this guy is. This is a... Oh, I know what this is. I can't remember what it is, but I know what it is. You got your goblins. You got a beholder. And another creature that I don't 100% recognize. So it's like they're like threat cards. They don't have Dungeons and Dragons stats or anything, but they have something written on the back of each in Forgotten Realms language, which can be translated if you know where to look. I do not. But I guess it's a cool extra. Things that add flavor to a purchase, and they do. So there's that. So what I'm gonna do real quick is pull out some 6-inch guys, other guys that are from other lines, and see how they stack up against Drizzt real quick. Be right back. So just to get a good idea of Drizzt's actual scale, brought in a couple of figures from G.I. Joe Classified and Marvel Legends. So here we have Hawk. And, you know, if you look at the size of the head, take Hawk's helmet off. I don't think Hawk's supposed to be quite that tall to Drizzt. I mean, it's, you know, 6-inch figures. I don't want to, you know, be ridiculous. I'm just, you know, I'm just saying they're not exactly in the same scale in terms of an interaction standpoint. And then you got Gambit. The Marvel Legends skew larger. I don't have anybody Black Series available in arm's reach, so I'll have to do that later, perhaps. But there you go, 6-inch guys with Drizzt. I'm gonna move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms Drizzt and Guenwyvar 2-pack. This set definitely has a premium kind of deluxe feel to it. You can tell they put a lot of love into it. When Hasbro, you know, goes the full distance, they usually knock it out of the park. They didn't really cut corners with this guy. You know, we're talking about a figure from 2 or 3 years ago, particularly in terms of development. You know, it might be like almost 4 years in terms of development. And, you know, he's right up there with stuff that they're putting out now. It's not really anything missing from that. You got extra hands, you got extra heads, you got extra hair, you got flavor accessories, you got, you know, fire effects for your swords. I mean, you know, they just didn't spare the change on this one. Guenwyvar, who I didn't really go all that much into, though, I mean, is amazing. Obviously, you know, Timber and all the animals for G.I. Joe that we're getting are coming off of the backs of Guenwyvar. I mean, it's obvious. And in a future video, I will, you know, I'll have him and Timber in there somewhere, just to show how they stack up against each other. He feels much larger to me than Timber, and Drizzt's scale is only slightly off a little bit from G.I. Joe Classified. So the Hasbro scale of things that they seem to own skews a little bit closer than things that they don't. And by that I mean Black Series is in its own 6-inch scale that's definitely smaller, and Marvel Legends is in its own 6-inch scale that's definitely larger, right? So it seems like the G.I. Joe Classified stuff and the Dungeons and Dragons stuff and maybe the Power Rangers stuff. I don't have any Power Rangers to go by, but just from the eye test, those things are kind of in a more almost universal scale. I don't remember Drizzt's height, so he might be the correct height. I don't know. But anyway, it's close enough, you know. It's not as jarring as to put a Black Series figure or a Marvel Legends figure next to a G.I. Joe Classified series figure. So with that, glad I got him. I should have got him years ago, but I'm gonna give him the same rating that I would have given him years ago. With all the information that it came before, it doesn't change the fact that I think this is a 10 out of 10 set. And I'm gonna have to decide if I'm gonna put this on my top 10 figures of 2023 list, because I got it in 2023. So, I don't know. We'll see. I can tell you it'll at the very least get an honorable mention, but you know, I have to decide how far back I can go on something like that. And it's a crowded field this year. It's a very crowded field. So, I'm gonna sign off there. Thanks everybody for continuing to support the channel and watch the videos. And for certain, everybody have a Merry Christmas. You should be seeing this video on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I'm not going to put up any content on Christmas Day. That's going to be a day off. But yeah, we'll have you know, more content coming very shortly. Got some Marvel Legends. Got some Transformers. Still got quite a few things to go over before the end of the year. So with that, I'm going to end it there. Again, thanks for watching the videos, and I will see you all soon. Everybody stay safe, and Merry Christmas. Peace.
The way I got it figured.